lot of you guys came from the video that Alex made of me, and you guys have a lot of questions, so I thought I'd make a very detailed video breaking down everything, all the steps on what it took me to get from the very beginning stages all the way to where I am now. Now, for those who don't know me, my name's Steven. I've been doing e-commerce for 6 years now. I made about $8 million with actual branding and about $4 million with dropshipping. I've really taken the time to break everything down as detailed as possible. So this is 6 years of information condensed all into a single video. This video is going to cover the entire roadmap going from $0 all the way to multi-millions. And I'm going to be showing you guys a strategy that I've been personally using for the past 6 years. Without further ado, let's get started. Just to show you I know what I'm talking about, here are 3 stores that follow the exact same formula. And the best part is we do it mostly organic and the customers come back to create insane lifetime values. So you can see here, this store's done 4 million, this store's done 1 million, and this store we just started 90 days ago has done 126,000. What I'm most impressed by is the amount spent by some of our top customers. So you can see here, this customer spent $6,000, this spent 4, another 4, and I'll show you on another store. Same thing here. Over thousands of dollars spent. And this is how you create a long-term sustainable business. So let's dive into the roadmap and go from A to Z. As you guys can see, we have a very detailed roadmap. You're going to want to pay attention and also make sure to save this video because you're going to want to come back and look at the different steps in the roadmap as you progress in your e-commerce journey. But before we get started, let's start at the very beginning, where it all started. When I was 18 years old, I started a dropshipping business. I was marketing, doing product research, finding suppliers, all while being a college student. And this is a picture of me literally sleeping under a table at my school. I snuck into this building at my school at UC Irvine and slept under a table over the summer because I wanted to make this dropshipping thing work so bad. I did not want to go home, had to put some extra pressure on myself and basically voluntarily went homeless. And after a few months of hard work, I finally started seeing some results. I was making a couple $100s at first and then $1,000, and it just kept cascading until I made millions of dollars with dropshipping. All in, I did around $4 million with dropshipping stores. However, there's one thing that most people don't want you to know about this whole dropshipping industry, and that's what I learned. With typical dropshipping stores, you're going to see huge revenue spikes, and then at the end, there's just zero revenue altogether. What most people in dropshipping fail to do is create a sustainable brand, something that customers will come back and buy from over and over again. And the reason that's important is because once you've scaled adequately in your Facebook ads or whatever marketing channel, your acquisition cost is almost guaranteed to get higher. So getting new customers is going to become extremely expensive. And if your old customers are not coming back, then you're not getting any more cash flow to your business. What I really started to focus on is the secondary number, which is the returning customer rate. And this really signifies how strong your customer base is and how much they're willing to spend money on your store in a recurring manner. So you can see here, this store has a 53% returning customer rate, which is absolutely phenomenal. That means about half of the customers come back to purchase a second item. The profit margins with these vanity metric stores is actually really terrible. So you can see this store's done $9.8 million, but they're probably running at a 5 to 10% profit margin. Whereas if you have a business that doesn't rely on advertising as heavily, then your profit margins are going to be anywhere between 25 to 30%. So I'd way rather have 30% of a lower revenue store than 10% of a high revenue store. It's a lot better to have happy customers than customers who are complaining, sending chargebacks, etc., etc. So in this roadmap, we're really focusing on real sustainable businesses, no more vanity metrics, which I also have succumbed to in the past when I was dropshipping to build a business, and then at the end of it all, it collapses right before your eyes. So let's go ahead with the essential tools that you're going to need to start building your store. So absolutely, Shopify is one of my favorite tools to use to build any type of web store. They have so many plugins and integrations in it. So that's going to be the foundation that we're going to use to build the rest of our business. When you're starting a store, you're going to want to make a name right away. And that's probably one of the hardest parts for most people because they're like, oh, should I make a product specific store or do I want to make a general store? I always go for a general name and a general store, something that's easily memorable. And I like to use real words. So an example is Impulse Modern. This was the general store I made for one of my brands that I actually sold. The funny thing is I started out selling completely different products, and we shifted to jewelry and it still fits the name. So you want to find something that's very broad and very adaptable. The next thing we're going to want to do is load up a theme onto our store. And the great thing is I have a AI store builder. Click the link in the description. It will build you a store in literally 5 minutes with a preloaded theme and all the apps that you're going to need. The landing page says 2 minutes, but it's actually more like 5, just because you're going to have to put some extra attention into the type of copy that you want and the niche of store. I wouldn't recommend speedrunning 2-minute store. If you want to get fancier with a premium theme, I definitely recommend Shrine. This is by far the standard best theme that most people use. Either you're a dropshipper or you're not a dropshipper, you can definitely use this theme. And on top of that, if you want even more advanced themes, which I personally don't recommend because it's a lot to customize, you can go onto the Shopify theme store and search for something that you want. For the logo, we're going to want to use Canva to create a logo. You can actually browse through their pre-made logos and just change the name to your store name. That's what I personally did. And then later on, I redesigned the logo professionally with a Fiverr designer. You can see here my logo, Impulse Modern. This is literally straight from Canva. It looks great. And honestly, you don't need anything too crazy as the start for your store. Okay, next, some of the apps that you're going to need are going to be listed here. I'll talk in more depth about them later on in this roadmap, so don't worry about that too much. And then for the payments, we're going to use Shopify Payments, PayPal, and Stripe. If you're in a country that does not have PayPal or Stripe, then there's plenty of alternatives that you can find. But for most countries, these 3 are perfect for getting started. Now let's move on to the most important part of this roadmap. And this part is related to the product. So we have a very strict criteria for the type of products that we want to sell. And that's going to be a growing niche, passion or solution, easy logistics, high margin, and potential for viral content. You must have at least 4 of those 5 factors for your store to have a higher likelihood of success. And so I'm going to explain each of these in detail as well so you can better understand it. In terms of growing niche, the best way that you can figure out if the niche is growing or not is using a tool called Google Trends. And all you need to do is search up your keyword. So for example, you do anime. What you want to see is the trend graph on your niche is growing consistently, and you don't want to build a business that's on a downtrending niche because that means you're going to get less customers over time and there's not much room for growth in your business overall. The next thing that's really important is having a passion or a solution-oriented product. By passion-oriented, it means you're serving a demographic that's extremely passionate about something. So for example, it could be for Pilates, where the people spend a disproportionate amount of money and time into their passion. Another one is anime. Another one is cars, collecting watches. You kind of get the point here. Okay, moving on, we really want to focus on products with strong and easy logistics. What that means is the product should be lightweight and it should be something that doesn't break super easily in transit, especially if we're going to ship it from China in the beginning, just for validation purposes. We don't want to ship out a product that might have problems with breaking or quality issues. So I tend to stick away from anything that's fragile or even electronics. Next, we want to focus on high margin products. The gross profit margin of the product should be at least 80%. What that means is if you're selling a product for $100, the product cost and shipping all in should be only around $20. So then you still have $80 of margin to work with for advertising and your personal profit. And finally, the product should definitely be something that can go viral on social media. This is going to be a huge boost to your business. So whether you're making content for yourself, your customers are making content, influencers, whoever, as long as it can go viral, this is a great product. Demonstratable in some sort of way, or it should have some striking wow factor or something really unique about it that catches people's eyes. And in the next section, I'm going to show you guys exact examples of this. But before we do that, we're going to talk about niche selection. This is also another very, very important aspect of our specific roadmap because we want to find products that are not too broad, but also not too narrow. And I've developed a niche research strategy called cross-pollination. And basically what this is you take 2 very broad niches. And in this example, I'm giving a niche and the gaming niche. These are 2 very broad niches that have a overlap. And what we do is target this niche in the middle, which I refer to as a super niche. So you can see here, kawaii aesthetic. It's mostly pink and pastel colors, cute characters, Sanrio, that type of stuff. And then on the right, we have the gaming gear. We have, Switch cases, gaming controllers, headphones, whatever you can sell to gamers. Right in the middle are these super passionate community members who love gaming and pink aesthetic stuff. So what I decided to do, and this is actually a real brand, although Kawaii Gaming has a much smaller market size, it has less competition and a much stronger community that's bound to be very passionate about whatever product you release to them. This is a brand called Light My Bricks, and they are a $10 million a year business selling lighting kits for your Lego sets. So what this is combining is the people who love Lego and the home decor niche. So by selling the lighting kits, it turns your Lego piece into a home decor piece. And so they found this really big cross section of people that love Lego and home decor. So the first one here, you can see this is a Dragon Ball Z figurine with Air Jordan shoes. Now, back then I was super young and dumb. I didn't know this was in a copyrighted niche. So I was selling something that was definitely copyright, and I got a DMCA notice and I had to take down my store. But I still made a decent amount of money from it. Okay, next you can see here, we were selling Kawaii Nintendo Switch cases, and this is a completely custom product, which I'll cover later in the roadmap. But you can see the cross section here is Kawaii and gaming. Next, we have a problem-solving product, but it also has a crazy viral potential. This is a anxiety ring. So it takes the people who love jewelry and the people who have anxiety, and it combines it together for a anxiety ring. It solves people's problem of anxiety while being a fashion statement at the same time. And this was a store that I actually sold, and the new owner is still running it to this day. Next, we can see this Air Jordan clock. Same thing, combines sneakerheads with people who love home decor. So that cross section again. Okay, and here's another product right here. It's an anime earring. And so this product has extremely high profit margins because it's literally just a little piece of jewelry, and you can sell it for a much higher perceived value than most other products. And next is dates. Although there's no cross section, what I did was found a very, very narrow niche of people who love dates, and I fulfilled that demand. Another product that I used to sell is this levitating sneaker stand, and it was great because the price of the product was over $100, but the issue is there were so many logistical issues. The electronics didn't work sometimes, the magnets would break the device, or it would just arrive broken, which you don't want that if you want to build anything sustainable. Finally, here we have some exercise bands. This is a pretty interesting product. This was during the height of COVID when everyone's stuck at home. There was a big problem with people not being able to go to the gym. So I sold these resistance bands. The only thing is this wasn't a very unique product. There's so many competitors and there was no real way for me to stand out. And on top of that, as soon as the pandemic was over, people went back to the gym and they didn't need any of these products anymore. Now, this is just a few of the products I've sold. I've sold so many other products, but I thought these were good examples to show you guys. Now, in terms of the product research methods, one of my favorite methods, and this is completely free, is actually training the Instagram and FYP reels of TikTok. All you need to do is find some product related pages. For example, you could go onto vice versa and just save all of their top videos. Once you save all those videos, you're going to start seeing a bunch of product focused videos show up on your Explore feed. Anytime you see a product that you're interested in, you're just going to save that to your collection as well. And over time, everything on your feed is going to be products. And the reason I like this is because I spend a huge amount of time on social media just droning away, and being able to just scroll and see interesting stuff all the time, it's great. Really takes no conscious effort. Another way is browsing Etsy. Etsy is one of the most underrated, most slept on ways to find winning products. And what we're doing here is we're finding products that sell well on Etsy. So we can see if we find a product we like on Etsy, we can actually click into their profile. And then right here, there's this tiny little text that says the amount of sales they have, but we can actually click into some of these stores and see exactly what items they've been selling in the past. And if the store is making a decent amount of sales, what we can do is see if there's any type of arbitrage opportunity to bring that product from Etsy onto your own Shopify store and market it yourself. Issues with Etsy sellers is they don't know how to market their product. They're kind of basically relying on Etsy to do all the marketing for them. And that sometimes leads them to not be able to capture the full opportunity that is available with that product. So you can go in and do your own marketing on your own Shopify store and make a lot more money. And I've personally done this myself and absolutely printed with it. Okay, moving on, we're going to go on to some paid methods. One of my favorite tools to use is actually called Winning Hunter. You can click on this link here to get access to it. I'm not sponsored by Winning Hunter yet, so maybe later on when they sponsor me, you guys can get some sort of nice discount code. Just come back to the Miro page and you can see if there's some sort of discount on it. Now, what Winning Hunter does is basically it collects a ton of advertisements and allows you to sort through those ads by how many likes that Facebook page has, et cetera, et cetera. So this tool is not only great for doing product research, but it's also great for doing ad inspiration and creative research. Another thing with Winning Hunter is you can use this in conjunction with a tool called adscan.ai, and you can basically save all those winning creatives onto your adscan.ai account and then transcribe all of those videos. I'll get more into this later once we talk about the marketing section, but I absolutely love this stack and it's helped me save so much time. The next tool that I like to use is called eRank, also not sponsored, but basically helps you find all the top selling Etsy stores and it breaks it down by their top keywords, top products, and how many sales they're even doing. So now let's say you found your product. We're gonna need to start building our homepage for our store. And I've found a store that is basically a branded dropshipping store that's absolutely crushing it right now. It's a product that basically helps people remove dark spots, and this is especially for darker individuals who might get dark spots more easily. And so the first thing we're gonna want is on our store itself, you can see this navigation bar. All the theme editors have it. You can just enable it and then type in some information about your store, such as your email and maybe some sort of promotion, and then as well a track my order link. And you can use tracking more to have a embedded tracking link on your store. And especially if you're shipping from China, you can omit certain things that carriers might say, such as coming from China, and it could just say leaving facility. Moving on, we have the main banner here. You just want to put what your brand is about or what your product is about and some main talking points. One thing that I noticed they included here is that it's Black owned and it's a small business. This is really good because people love to interact with small businesses. They love to support small businesses. And if you are a small business, you want to let people know that. Beyond that, we have a shop now button. This is good because if people end up on your homepage, maybe through Google or some other way, then they can click onto here and start shopping right away. Next, we just have some basic trust badges. This isn't extremely important, but something like a 30-day money-back guarantee, if you can offer it, could be good. Moving on, it still talks about Black-owned business, small business, very good. Below that, we have right away some of the best-selling products. You definitely want to include your top-selling offers right below this banner because these are the offers that have been proven to work. If someone lands on your homepage, they're going to want to probably shop similar offers. Below that, we want to include something to boost our average order value. This could be a collection, or it could be bundles, or it could be alternative products that you think the person might want to buy. And finally, we want to include a customer section with some reviews, testimonials. I love to use the app called Luke's Reviews. The great thing about it is if you're running Google Ads, then the actual reviews will populate onto Google as well. So definitely use Luke's Reviews. Link is also included in the Miro. Moving on, we're going to go onto the product page. I chose to go onto the mobile view because a lot of people actually browse from their phones. I've looked at my traffic statistics and most people are shopping on their phone these days. What we can see here is the main image is an organic user-generated image. It's actually pretty good. We want to include maybe something on the top right corner to talk about benefit or a guarantee. You don't actually have to. You could just include the picture by itself, but this just adds a little bit of trust to the listing. And then below that, we have a section that has some reviews. Again, you can use Luke's Reviews to install that. This is good social proof. Below that, we have a special set of checkout options. So you can actually use an app called Bundle Quantity Breaks, and it'll let you have these option selections where you can let them choose a one-time subscribe and save, or even choose a bundle with a product. It looks so good on the websites, and it can boost your average order value or your lifetime value very much. Finally, they have a little section talking about the expected delivery. I typically include this in the description to say the shipping times, but you can also include it above. If you want to have a accordion style description, you can use this app called Easy Slide Accordion, and that's what I personally use. Been using it for many years, no problems with it. You can include a bunch of random things in the actual accordions, but the only main things that you want to include is the description and something about shipping. Okay, great. So now that you've got your store up and running, This is where the fun part begins. We need to figure out how to get our product out there and how to start making sales. That takes us to organic marketing. So there's so many different ways that you can market your store and market your product, but I'm gonna give you the clearest cut roadmap to getting your product out there. First of all, if your product already exists and already has content, then you can actually skip this step and go onto the paid marketing section. But if your product is something that's more unique or you feel like the content doesn't really look that great in the market, then this is where we're going to start. So we're going to start with organic social media. What this means is you're going to start your own Instagram page and you're going to market to it. How you're going to do this is by ordering your product or getting samples of your product. But once you get the physical product in hand, you're literally just going to use your phone and make a ton of creatives. What I recommend is most people start with organic social. What organic social basically is starting your TikTok and your Instagram page or maybe even YouTube, and you yourself are going to make the content. And if you don't know how to make content yourself, maybe you find a friend or maybe you find someone on the internet to make it for you. Our whole goal here is to create a library of content that we can use for later purposes, like for advertising, and maybe some of this content is going to blow up and get us sales organically. We need a very streamlined system of getting our content creator or ourselves to pump out content consistently and go viral. So this is the path of creating original content. There's so many different examples of stores that do this on Instagram. If you just fire up your For You page, you're going to see a ton of them. This is a brand that I found that's basically selling these nails that you can actually just slip onto your fingers, so you don't actually have to get acrylic painted onto your nails. And this is great for the Muslim population because Muslim girls, they have to pray, but I guess one of the rules is you're not allowed to pray with fingernails on. So anyways, what they did is they started posting a ton of content, and you can see here some of the content actually went mega viral. And so what we would do is we'd find either influencers or content creators or brands that are going viral in this niche, and we're gonna copy their top performing videos, use their hooks, use the same sounds as them, and use the same visuals as them. Our goal is to create as many pieces that can go viral as possible. The easiest way that we can go viral is just by copying our competitors and literally angle for angle, lighting for lighting, everything one-to-one, just copy them directly, and eventually one of those videos should go viral. That's what I've always done to try to go viral, is just find either competitors or creators that look similar and literally try to replicate everything that they're doing. So you can see here, relatable hooks. So hooks that really target your specific demographic and things that feel authentically true to them. You can see here for this hook, you made a replacement for traditional nails so Muslim girlies can finally get their nails done. This is so random. I have no idea what this means because I'm not the target demographic. But for this demographic of Muslim women, this is obviously very relatable, and the results show 54.7 million views. We just want to create around 20 pieces of these viral videos, and hopefully one of ours goes viral, and later on we can repurpose that for advertising. And one thing to know, when you're making the videos, you want to keep it in a 9:16 format, but also make sure to have all of your key elements like your product and any headlines or text within this region, the middle region of the video, because when we're making ads, a lot of this text is going to get cut off because we're going to make it in a 1:1 format. We have influencer content. So this type of content works decently well. We really only want to do influencer content if it's either free or if we're scaling and we have the budget to pay influencers. So an example of a good influencer is someone like this, and you can see their engagement rate is 11.57%. If you want to find out the engagement rate, get this extension called Keywords Everywhere. It's for Chrome, and as soon as you install it, it should appear below every influencer's profile. Typically, a good engagement rate is around 5%, so the fact that they have 11.57 signifies that they're doing fantastic. Once you find a list of good influencers, you're going to want to reach out to them through email or through direct DM. Email probably works if you're a not established brand. If you're going to do a direct outreach from your social media account, then you should have some sort of following and already existing posts showing what your product is. If you need a following, you can probably buy some followers, and that's at your own discretion. I've never personally done that before just because I don't want to mess up my engagement rates, but it might not actually matter. It might be good to make a a proxy account just at the beginning where you can have fake followers and reach out to a bunch of influencers. So the message you want to say is, hello, I'm a marketing rep for your company name, and you are a small business working to create whatever your mission statement would be. And finally, we love your content and wanted to know if you want a PR package from us. That is if you want to do it in a free way where you only send them the product. A lot of influencers are going to want a paid collab. Now, influencer content, this is optional. You don't have to make this content right away. Maybe once you're scaling and you have a higher budget, then you can come back to it. But the reason I put influencer content before Facebook ads is because sometimes Facebook ads doesn't actually work for your specific brand. And so you're going to have to find a different channel. And this tends to be the next most effective channel to get your product out there. So now that you have a bunch of content from influencers and a bunch of content from your own videos, this leads me to the paid ad section. Paid marketing is pretty simple. You're basically taking your creatives that you have and just forcing ad spend onto them and forcing people to see it on their screen. So you can imagine someone scrolling through Instagram and they get an ad. That's someone on the other side paying to force that ad onto this person's screen. Sometimes it's important to script your ads so that it converts properly. The way that I like to do it is a combination of Winning Hunter and AdScan.ai. On Winning Hunter, you're going to find a bunch of winning ads and you're going to click on the ads to go into the Facebook ad library and then use AdScan AI's Chrome extension to save it to AdScan. Once you've saved it, you can actually click on the transcribe feature and you can get the script directly. And then you can use that existing transcript to basically recontextualize it to fit your product. So I have this cool AI bot that I built out. You can click on this link in here to get access to it. And basically what it does is it takes the existing context of that script and it modifies it to your new product. You can either do it through this bot or you can just do it yourself by looking at the script and changing it up to fit the context of your product. And next, to edit your videos, you're going to use CapCut. CapCut is a completely free tool. They do have a paid subscription. The great thing about CapCut is you can use trending sounds from TikTok because they're the same company, and it's available as a mobile app and also for desktop. So if you're getting tired of creating your own videos, you can actually cast your own content creators. You can hire more professional user-generated content creators. These guys are a little bit more expensive. They're anywhere between $50 to $150 per video that they make, but they can speed up the process of launching for you much quicker. And also, if you're not the specific audience and you can't make the video because, say, for example, you need a dog in the video, then these are the best creators to go after. So there's a few platforms that you can use. For beginners, going on Twitter and just making a casting call like this is probably the easiest. Another good platform to get cheap content creators is actually Backstage. They typically use this for model castings and like more Hollywood related stuff, but they have a ton of really good actors on here that can really help convey your script in an authentic way. And finally, if you're scaling, you can actually use the platform called Incense. You do have to pay a certain amount. I think it's like $500 a month to use it. So it's only for people who are more advanced and looking for a huge volume of creatives and kind of like a central hub to manage everything. Now that we have our ads ready to go, what we're going to do is advertise them on a platform called Meta, aka Facebook. The reason I like to do Facebook first is because Facebook tends to have the longest lifespan in terms of the ads not fatiguing and in terms of audience size. If you wanted to advertise on TikTok, it would make sense if your product catered to a younger audience. But for my instance, I always test Facebook first and then TikTok afterwards. And in terms of the product testing structure on your Facebook ads or TikTok ads, it's basically the same structure. What you're going to do is have one CBO. It's a campaign budget optimized campaign where the campaign will spend the money according to Facebook's algorithms, and it'll distribute that budget towards different ad sets. In this case, we're only going to have one ad set. We're going to have one ad set, and inside the ad sets, we're going to stack a bunch of relevant interests. I typically stack about 10 interests together. You're also going to want to target the top 4 countries, which is United States, Canada, Australia, and United Kingdom. And within the ad set itself, you're going to include 5 to 10 ads of the same product, and everything else is going to stay the same. So your headline is going to stay the same, your copy is going to stay the same, your call to action, everything is going to stay the same. And if you want more inspiration on what to include for the headline copy, you can basically go on to Winning Hunter and look for a bunch of those and copy one of them. To be honest, it doesn't matter too much as long as people have a link to click to get to your website. What we want to see here is after spending 1 times your product price, say for example, it's $50, you've spent $50, you want to start getting some sort of add to carts or some sort of traction. If you're not, pause the ad and figure out why that is. It might be that your creative is really bad, or it might be your product just is not good at all. After spending 2 times your product price, you're going to be expecting at least 1 or 2 sales. You don't have to always be profitable right off the bat, although that's a huge signal that you have a massive winner on your hands. By the time you've spent around 7 times your budget, you should be profitable. And if you're not, then you need to probably pause the ad and revisit and figure out what you're doing wrong in your entire marketing funnel. One advice I could give is you don't want to cut your ads too early. Say for example, your product is $50, you spend $25 and you got no results. I would say run to the full $50 before you assess any results. If at $50 you're still not getting any add to carts, you can still continue to run. And if you spend $80, still no add to cart, that's when I would pause the ad. But if you do have some sort of preliminary signals that people are actually checking out, then run to the full budget, say at $100. Then after spending $100, you should get some sort of purchase. If your product is $50 and you spend $100 and you got no purchases and maybe only 1 add to cart, I would still pause the funnel and just figure out, is this a product that is just not interesting to people? Or is my creative really bad? Or is my offer too expensive or not good enough? You kind of want to look at all these elements and try to figure out what's going on. But let's say the product is winning and you are profitable, then we can move on to the next thing, which is creative testing. So with the creative testing structure, what we're going to do is have a broad CBO targeting the same countries. And what we're going to have is multiple ad sets for each week of creatives that you launch. So for example, week 1, you have 5 creatives ready to launch on Facebook. You're going to launch it in a flexible ad on a single ad set and let it spend about 2 times the product price. And what the flexible ad does is it basically combines everything together so that it's not multiple ads running at the same time, but just a singular ad that dynamically shifts depending on what Facebook thinks the top creative is. So for example, week 1, we've launched 5 ads inside the flexible ad. This way, you don't have multiple ads competing against each other for ad space. And once we spend about 2x that product price, so let's say our product is $50, we've spent $100 and we haven't had any significant results from that ad set, then we're going to turn it off and launch our next week's ad set. Now, Facebook is going to allocate budget towards the different ad sets according to its own algorithm. So for example, week 5, you might have just launched it, but then it starts spending most of the budget to that ad set. You want that because that means it's efficiently spending money towards what it determines as the best ad. Once you found the winning ad, just drop it back into your interest stack as well, and also drop it into the next campaign, which is a scaling campaign. So for the scaling campaign, it's pretty simple. We're going to have a cost cap CBO. So you can set the setting on the campaign itself. And basically what it does is it limits the amount that Facebook spends according to what your target cost is. Let's say our target cost per acquisition is $12. We can set the bid on the ad set to $12 and drop all our winning creatives in. And we can set the campaign budget to $1,000. That campaign's not going to spend. You can get a purchase for around that price. We want to have multiple ad sets in here at different bid increments. So we want to start at $5 to $10, 15, 10, 20. You can also do smaller increments if you want to. You can do larger. It really depends on the price of your product. You're going to want to run this campaign for about 2 days just to see where most of the budget is going to. And you can start slowly turning off the ad sets that you see are not getting a favorable acquisition cost. So turn all those off, and eventually you're going to have the campaign with maybe 2 ad sets turned on that have a really desirable acquisition cost. And you're literally just going to keep this running at a really high budget, say like 1,000, 2,000, or you could even go up to 10,000 if you're really scaling. For the fulfillment, what we're going to do is when we're launching the product, we're going to ship it directly from China. And if you don't even have the product, say you only have a sample, you can still launch. What you can do is launch as a pre-order. And if you can't fulfill it later on, then you can just cancel all the orders and refund the customers, telling them, hey, sorry, we weren't able to make this product possible. Or you can just flat outright just cancel the orders once you get a few in, just to validate the market, and then go into production and planning that out. In terms of getting samples made, you can use Alibaba. And what I like to do is I like to find a similar product and ask the manufacturer for customizations and ask what their minimum order quantity is. Now, this isn't to say I'm going to actually purchase and go through with it. What I want to do is just develop a sample and make content with the sample and launch that product and see if anyone even buys it. If nobody buys the sample, then I'm not going to go and do a full-scale production. You should be willing to lose money in the initial stages of launching your product, just because samples typically cost a lot more than existing products. However, if you have an existing product, I highly recommend using AutoDS. AutoDS can help you with product sourcing, it can help you with product fulfillment, and they even have US warehouses, which is absolutely awesome. Back when I was dropshipping, I did not have this option. Alternatively, you can also use a shipping agent like Honest Fulfillment. I'm not even sponsored by them, but I've heard a lot of great things about them, so you can definitely reach out. You can click the link right here to view their website and reach out to them about sourcing. The only thing about them is they might need some higher order quantities because they're actually going to order the inventory physically to their warehouse in China and then ship it for you. Regardless, with both AutoDS and Honest Fulfillment, or even your own supplier, you should be able to ask them for custom packaging and custom inserts for your product. In terms of my two favorite shipping lines, I like to use 4PX or UniExpress. It can deliver products from China to America within 7 to 12 days, which is honestly pretty good. And sometimes it comes even faster, between 4 to 7, but we don't want to rely on that. So I typically say in my website that products arrive anywhere between 12 to 14 days. Once we're scaling our business, we definitely want to start working with some bigger players. So I've worked with JD Logistics before. They have warehouses all over China and America, and they can fulfill your international orders from China and they can fulfill your US orders from America. But I would only reach out to them once you're at, let's say, $50,000 a month or more. And what I typically like to do is start moving towards US shipping. What I would start doing is transitioning a portion of my inventory to the US and leave about 60 to 70% of the inventory in China. The US inventory would come by boat or by air, and you have to constantly monitor your inventory to make sure that you're not undersupplied in America. But if you do sell out of inventory in America, you can always just go back to dropshipping from China to America. The reason I do this is to improve the customer experience and boost our returning customer rate. Having US shipping helps a ton with this, so I highly recommend it. In terms of managing your orders, I like to use a platform called Shipping Easy if you are doing your own warehousing, which honestly is not recommended, but sometimes you need it just because you might have too many SKUs. So for example, with my clothing brand, we have so many SKUs that we just had to get our own warehouse. Next, in terms of hiring, there are a few websites that I love to use. The first is onlinejobs.ph. You can go on here and find amazing virtual assistants for customer service, for social media posting, for editing videos, etc., etc. So definitely go on here, make an account when you're ready to hire. The next platform is Upwork. Upwork is definitely a little bit more expensive, but you can find higher quality workers like web designers, programmers, and even higher level C-suite executives. Finally, I have one of my favorite tools. It's called Careers Page Pro. This is actually a Shopify app that you can install, and you can have a link embedded onto your store with a page that has all your job postings of the different positions that you're hiring. So across all of my brands, I love to hire within the community and within the niche, because those are the people who are going to understand the customers the most, and those are the people who are going to enjoy working at your company the most as well. So if you can hire your customers, definitely do so. In terms of the hiring process, it's pretty standard. You post a job advert, you shortlist the people that you like, and then you have a preliminary interview. And if they pass that, you send them a trial task, so some sort of small project. And if they pass that, you can give them a final interview and then hire them on board. In terms of my team structures, how I typically have it is the CEO or founder is at the very top. They're kind of responsible for building out the rest of the team. So you're probably going to do a lot of HR activities at the beginning, a lot of recruiting, a lot of hiring, a lot of job posts. Below the CEO, you're going to have the COO, which is the Chief Operations Officer, and the CMO, which is the Chief Marketing Officer. The CEO is going to manage everything to do with supply chain. They probably will do some product development, and they might also manage some CS reps. The CMO, they'll probably be handling creative strategy, marketing and outreach, content creators, and paid ads, or maybe working with agencies to handle each of these aspects. But once you start building out your systems even more, they should have dedicated people that will report to the COO or CMO. In terms of payroll and HR, what I love to use is Hubstaff and PandaDoc. So what I would do is I would send all of my new hires a contractor agreement, not a actual formal employment agreement, because having full-time staff is expensive and you have to pay for health insurance and all these other crazy benefits. Whereas with a contractor, they handle it on their end. So all you do is have a contract to mention that they are explicitly a contractor. And then also I use Hubstaff to automate the payments every month. So you can use this app to track time, and you can also use it to automatically pay out your different staff. So basically at this point, you have a fully operational brand and you're scaling, you're making money, all is good. But we need to talk about one really important aspect of building a brand, which is product development. Products don't sell forever unless maybe you're selling a supplement, but even then you have to release new products. This is absolutely crucial for boosting your average order value and making customers really bought into your brand. First, you need a designer. In terms of finding designers, you can go on Fiverr if you're really strapped for budget, or you can go on Behance. Behance is one of my favorite ways to find really talented product designers. And basically all you're gonna do is on Behance, you're gonna go and search up whatever your product you're looking for is and the design of it, right? Basically, you're gonna search up your product or whatever you're trying to design and go through and find a bunch of people who are posting really high quality designs of different products. One thing that you also want to do is set the location to a low wage but high skill countries such as Ukraine, Pakistan, India, Indonesia, Philippines, right? There's tons of designers from all over the world that aren't going to charge you an arm and a leg to get your product done. Once you find someone you're satisfied with, just reach out to them and work with them. So in terms of the process, you're going to start out with sketches and renders. So you can see here, this is a sketch that I did for one of my old brands. Basically, you would sketch out the front, the back, the side, and any elements on the product. If it's a more technical product, it has different technical components in it, then you're going to have to work with an engineer to make a schematic of that. If you're developing a product that has a lot of colors, make sure to use a CMYK color guide because what you design on the screen is going to be different from what's in real life. So you want to use the reference guide before you actually make the sample, just to save a little bit of extra time. Once you have a sketch or a render of the product, then you can find someone on Upwork or Fiverr to make it for you. This is just a sheet to show all the information about the product and things that you want to include so that the manufacturer can produce it accurately. Finally, you're going to get your samples and this is going to come in, you're going to feel it, play around with it. It's either good or it's not good. If it's not good, then you're going to have to go through the process all over again and make another sample. Typically, we go through a few samples before we have the end product that we're happy with. Once you're happy, then you make a deposit for your actual production and they'll start making the products in bulk. So now we got our perfect product, we're ready to launch. We need to start creating hype for the product. How we're going to do this is through remarketing, and what we're going to use is emails to reach our customers. This is probably the most effective way to retarget your customers besides social media, which we will also do in conjunction. So make sure when I'm talking about this, it's not just emails, but you also want to be posting Instagram stories. You want to make posts about it on Instagram as well. And basically doing anything you can on social media to get to your customers. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to be talking about emails. And how you're going to get inspiration for your emails is actually a website called Mild. So you can go to mild.com and it's the largest search engine for e-commerce emails, and you can find all the top brands and exactly what their emails look like. Emails out, we're going to use a platform called Klaviyo. And basically what Klaviyo does is it collects all of your email addresses from Shopify and it basically allows you to send it out in mass. So the first email that we're going to actually make is just a warm-up email. It's like a sneak peek. And what we want to do is keep it really simple. You can do it even a plain text email, but it's just to say, hey, we've been working on something new and we can't wait to show what we're working on. You can also include some sort of opt-in to collect their email address again, to put them into like a special list if they're interested in what we're cooking up. The next thing we're going to do is a early access email. In the previous email, you can have an opt-in to be like, hey, put your email in here to have early access. And then we would send that list of people an email to give them early access to the product. And those people, they get VIP access, they can purchase the product first. And then finally, we have a launch email. So you can say something like new release or new product, and then you highlight all the key benefits of the product. This one is a back in stock email because I couldn't find a new launch email. We haven't launched that many new products as of recently, but yeah, that's basically it. And you want to do this across all your platforms, not just email. You want to do email, SMS, social media, and you can even use influencers to promote this new product drop as well. That's basically the entire process, you guys. It's pretty straightforward. It's rinse and repeat, right? You keep releasing new products. Make sure your customers are satisfied. Next thing you know, you're on your way to building a 7 or even 8-figure brand. All right, so I know I probably just said a lot of different things and you guys are probably overwhelmed by the amount of information that was in this roadmap. So definitely don't worry about that. For those of you who are overwhelmed by everything that was just mentioned here, I have a full A through Z course for you guys to watch, and I'm giving it out to you guys for completely free, along with access to our private community. And you're going to get to meet a bunch of people who are on the same path, who might be able to answer any of your questions. All you have to do to get access is click the link in the description to start building your AI store. And once you've filled out all the information and you created your store, you're also going to get access to the community and the course. Alternatively, if you already have some experience under your belt and you want some really tailored one-to-one help, I would definitely recommend signing up for my mentorship. Not everyone gets accepted, so no hard feelings. And I only work with a few students every month. I want to protect your money and my time because my mentorship is paid. If that's something you're interested in, definitely click the link in the description to sign up. Finally, if you have a store that's scaling up, that's done over $50,000 in revenue, and you want me to personally come on and invest in your business and join you as a partner, then you can reach out directly to my email at steven@manifest5.com. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed any of the value, please leave a like below and leave a comment on what you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.